I would like to go back to our questioning around switching from net metering to VETR for residential use. I'm highly concerned that as we approach the 2020 deadline where the switch would happen, that there would be a net chilling effect by both financiers of residential solar projects and the consumers of that product, because they can't figure out what they will actually get out of their solar panel on their roof, on their residential roof. So I was wondering, is the PSC considering a floor for value put back into for energy put back into the system, so that when people invest in these projects, when individual consumers invest in these projects, they understand at least at a minimum how much they will get back out of the system?
So I think thank you, Assemblyman. I think it's too early to say we're actively considering that specific option or any other option. What we do know is that a rate design, if you will, that's too complicated for people to understand is almost certainly guaranteed to have a chilling effect. So that will not make sense, and that will not be what we do.
Then what do you say to the folks who install these panels, who have looked at the current VETR model, who say that the current VETR model is too hard to understand around a dinner table when someone is thinking of whether to invest in one of these systems?
We need to come up with, you say dinner table, but our term is kitchen table answer that someone can say yes to with ordinary intelligent questions and get an answer and say yes or no in 20 minutes. That's, I think, the model, and we need to get there.
And going back to what you have said to some of my other colleagues, is the PSC interested in fully investing in making sure that residential solar use is a priority, or is the PSC's priority solely based on large solar projects in open fields?
The PSC interest is driving what's right for New Yorkers, it's complicated, but quite simply, the closer the resource, the panel, is to the customer, the more value it provides. And if you have panels on a roof, 5 kilowatts at one extreme and 50 megawatts in a field outside Syracuse, 300 miles away, they provide vastly different amounts of value to the system in terms of how they respond to the local energy needs and the reliance on pipeline and investments. That's the engineer wonk side. And consumers get to vote. And there's something that they say yes to, that's panels on their roof. And so, yes, we're absolutely attentive to that sector.
So what is the PSC, what measures is the PSC prepared to make so that environmental value that I think you're talking about, my district in Brooklyn, there are no open fields, but what I do know is that there are solar power panel companies in Brooklyn right now that every set of solar panels that they put on a roof in Brooklyn, they're taking another home off the grid, and that if we get smart battery technology and smart policy, that those homes, and if we get a collection of homes on a block, will not only be able to generate energy for themselves, but their neighbors. And how is the PSC going to make sure that as we go into this VETR model, that kind of capture is valued at the appropriate rate? Because I think that's what folks are afraid of, that we're not going to get the appropriate rate, that net metering, currently we at least have a standard that we can wrap our hands around, and that if we go into 2020 without understanding that, we're going to chill the kind of ingenuity and momentum that's going on in New York City, where 75% of our greenhouse emissions are from buildings, and we need to take as many of these homes off the grid, I think, as possible over the next number of years so we hit that standard of
So-
50% renewable energy by 2030.
So I agree that needs to be the standard. I commit that that's what we'll be trying to do. I can't commit that we're going to solve the lack of open space in Brooklyn problem, but we have to have our policies that work in the world as we have it. So absolutely.
Thank you.